Okay, class. Now, this is the first session of your acid and bases. For more information, you can refer to your textbook. For pure chemistry students, you can refer to chapter 15 of a chemistry textbook, and for science chemistry students will be chapter 14 of a chemistry textbook. Alright, so first of all, we're going to go into what exactly are the chemical reactions of an acid. So what exactly is an acid? Okay, an acid only displays acidic properties when they are dissolved in water. Okay, and basically what is responsible for the acidic reaction is actually this H+ ions here. So if you compare these two reactions, the one over here, this is because it's in organic solvent, alright, the hydrogen ions are not ionized. So when that happens, this is actually not an acid. Whereas in this case, because of the presence of water, it actually gives you the H+ ions, and this is actually an acid. So therefore, two key ideas you need to know is that acid only display its acidic property when they are dissolved in water, and that when it produces H+ ions. Alright, so this is very important. As mentioned earlier, the H+ ions is very important. And these are some of the basic properties, some of the examples of the different type of acid. Alright, now moving on, I'm not going to touch on the physical property, but rather I want to focus more on the chemical. Alright, the chemical properties of acid. So, first thing, acid reacts with reactive metals to give you a salt and hydrogen gas. Have we learned anything like this before? Yes, actually it's nothing new. This is basically, we have learned it in the chapters of metals. Right, it's nothing new. So example of a metal will be your calcium, magnesium, zinc or iron. React with acid to give you a salt and hydrogen gas. Alright, so how do we know that a hydrogen gas is produced? Basically, when the flame extinguishes with a pop sound, you should know that a hydrogen gas is produced. Do take note that unreactive metal, alright, such as your copper, silver and your gold, do not react with acid because they are very unreactive metal. Alright, so some examples. So every time questions will give us something like this. Alright, magnesium, this is a metal. Alright, plus sulfuric acid, this will be your acid, will give you a salt and hydrogen gas. You need to know the generic equation. So now how do I actually derive what is the salt? Alright, so if you know that a metal plus acid gives you a salt, alright, plus hydrogen gas, we can make use of logical deduction. Since hydrogen is usually used up as a gas, so the only salt that can be formed will be between magnesium and sulfate. And a little bit of revision with chemical bonding, magnesium, alright, will form a charge of Mg2+. And sulfate ion is a polyatomic ion, and we all know that it is SO4 2-. And by using the crossover method, I will get actually this compound over here, magnesium sulfate. And this is how I actually make use of the this is how I actually deduce the salt. Alright, so that's how we do it. That's the first reaction that you need to know. Second chemical reactions that you need to know will be all acid reacts with your carbonate to give you your salt, water and carbon dioxide. So this is also the second chemical reaction that you need to digest by heart. Metal carbonate plus an acid gives you a salt, water and carbon dioxide. So some examples, alright, and how do we know that carbon dioxide is produced? Basically, we will bubble the gas, alright, through the lime water, or also known as calcium hydroxide. It will form a wet precipitate known as calcium carbonate. Alright, so an example of it with carbonate. Take note again, the moment I identify it as a carbonate with an acid, straight away I will get a salt plus water plus carbon dioxide. Again, what will happen is that I can make use of my logical deduction. Alright, so carbon dioxide is used up in the chemical reaction, water is also used up in the chemical reaction, so what is left is only sodium as well as chlorine. Alright, and then once again I go back to my ionic formula. Sodium forms a charge of Na+, and Cl is a minus. I will do a crossover method, okay, and then I will get a NaCl, and that's how I deduce this salt over here. It's simple, isn't it? Alright, and now this is the last reactions for acid that we need to know. Okay, acid can also react with any metal oxide also known as your bases, to give you your salt and water only. Example, any oxide with acid will give you salt and water, or any hydroxide, because basically they are all oxide, will also give you a salt and water. Alright, so you need to know this is your third chemical reactions that you need to know. Alright, and what is the name given to this chemical reaction? It is known as neutralization. This is only valid for your O-level standard. So, what exactly are the three chemical reactions that we have learned so far? Number one, we learned that acid plus metal will give you your salt plus hydrogen gas. Number two, we have learned that acid plus your carbonate will give you your salt plus carbon dioxide plus your water. And last of all, we learned that acid plus base will give you your salt plus water. Folks, you really need to memorize this by heart. I need to put down 3 extra signs for that. Alright, with that, that is the first